So what is recycling? Recycling is a process used to reduce the carbon footprint. What is carbon footprint? It's a way of measuring human impact on the environment by looking into greenhouse gases, or GHG, which are measured in units of carbon dioxide. What is greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases are water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, nitrogen oxide, methane, and ozone. What does that mean to us? What are greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases is the reason Kuwait gets hotter every year. 2016 was the hottest summer on record for Kuwait. And this is why it's important to us. This is why recycling is important to us. So how do we learn what is to recycle? It's very simple. Everything you procure today for the purpose of consuming in periodic period is used some sort of recycling material to package. Sounds confusing, right? Let me make it simpler. Let's go on a journey to a grocery store. We buy stuff that we consume daily. And I'll explain to you what can be recycled. Since it's hot in Kuwait, we'd like to start with water. So I'm going to grab a bottle of water. And what is a bottle of water made of usually? Plastic. Interestingly enough, it's made out of 3 types of plastic. The bottle is made out of PET. The label is made out of film plastic. It's called LDPE. It's usually marked with the number 4. And the cap is made out of polypropylene plastic, which is made out of it has usually an insignia of a triangle with a number 5 on top. Why is it important to understand the different types of plastic? As a household recycler, it's not really that important. If you can segregate them, it's better. If it's not, it's okay. But the reason it's important to know, because at the point of recycling, these plastics melt at different temperatures. So we cannot mix them at the recycling stage. So the sooner we segregate them, the sooner the system becomes more environmentally efficient. What else do we use that's plastic and recyclable? Our shampoo bottles, for example. Anything that's squeezable is made out of polyethylene, HDPE. Usually that has a number 2 insignia on it. And congratulations, Kuwait can recycle all these items. Now the plastic itself, the problem remains not in the plastic, because plastic can be recycled 9 times, so it's really efficient. The problem is in the consumption, how we use it today. We're putting plastic within plastic within plastic, and then we're throwing that in the landfill, and then we say, how come we can't recycle it? So that's where the problem lies. Now what people should be using is moving organic or disposable or biodegradable bags when they throw in the landfill. And everything else should be clear of plastic that's non-biodegradable and goes to the recycling centers where you could recycle them again. Now let's move down the aisle and go to the food cans. Food cans are the tuna, the corn, these types of metals that you use. So is the milk powder can, your coffee mug can. Those are all metals that we recycle on a daily basis. These are things that you consume periodically at home. And the problem with the metal is that a lot of it contains debris or waste food in it. Waste is very important to remove prior to recycling. If you don't, it ends up being part of the landfill, even if you put it in the recycling box. Because what happens over time, it starts generating a smell. It starts generating, inviting rodents and insects as well. So what happens is that even the labeler or the sorting machine can't tell what the product is because it has extra weight, and the human element will not touch it and will just push it aside and go for a cleaner item. So the end solution is to pick it up because it smells so bad and throw it in the landfill. So cleanliness is very important when it comes to recycling, especially for metals. There are other periodical items that we can use, or other periodical items that we consume that are also metals, like the refrigerator, your ironing board, my washing machine that I change every 6 months. These are all recyclable metal. Obviously there's other compounds in it, but mostly there is metal in it. and you could put it with the metal section in terms of recycling. The third element, since it's school season now, it just started, are the books, the papers, the magazines, and the newspapers. These are all considered part of the paper recycling. And if you want to go into segregating of paper even further, you can say the laminated from the paper that has ink on it, from paper that has writing from the plain, or the brown and the white. These are all different types of paper. But ultimately the user doesn't really need to get into those details because the numbers are limited. So you just have to put it in the paper recycling tray. The last two categories is the ones that I get surprise looks from people when I tell them that Kuwait recycles glass and oil. They always give me that surprise look. Really? Glass and oil? Yes. And the glass can be recycled in Kuwait. It is not the bulbs, it's not the window panes, it's not the doors, or they're not the shelves. They're consumable glass. Your cream, your cologne, your soda bottle, that's glass. Your water bottle, that's glass. Those are all recyclable glass. And again, that's the extra item that we can recycle. The last item, which is oil, a lot of people, unfortunately, put it down the drain, or put it outside in the garden, or throw it in the waste bin. These are all ways of inviting rodents and insects, and we don't want to do that. We should recycle the oil. There's more than one company in Kuwait that recycles oil. I know it's not something we hear about, but they are available, and we should recycle as much oil as possible. Now that we've talked about recycling Kuwait for the plastic, metal, paper, glass, and oil, we should note where to take them. Because yes, I recycled, but who's going to take them away from me? Or where do I drop them off? Well, in Kuwait, every city has a municipality in charge of it. And every place you live, there's a waste management company that passes by. I suggest you contact the municipality and ask them what you should do. Or contact that waste management company that picks up the waste from the neighborhood and ask them if they have a program specially for you. There are also private companies out there that comes to your house and collect their recyclables. And also there are blue bins. I don't know if you've seen them, but they have the 4 categories. They have the glass, plastic, paper, and metal. And they're available usually in co-ops and schools in the middle of certain areas in Kuwait. But they're available everywhere. There are also, if you're not sure and you want to deliver these bins or deliver the products to the recycling centers themselves, you could always contact TEDxAlShuwaikh, Industrial Union. They'll have a list for you of who is a recyclable company and which products they're willing to accept and where. And you could transfer them yourselves there. But is that all we can recycle? Now that we've taken all these elements, what's really left? I went grocery shopping, I consumed it. What's left that I haven't recycled? The food. The remainders of food, the leftovers of food. That could be composted today. And in Kuwait, we're actually lucky. With a 120-liter bin, you can compost in 3 months, taking it from food to organic compost. And from compost, you can put it back into vegetation in your own house. And then you start saving money instead of spending money. And that's another way of looking at the benefits of recycling and the benefits of being environmental and the benefits of being green. Now that we covered what to do, are we free? Well, we're essentially zero waste producers now. I mean, I took all the food, took all the plastic, took all the glass, took the oil. What's left? There's certain items that we still don't have solutions for. The light bulbs, for example. The paint. Some hazardous spray. Textile, wood. Yes, other parts of the world does recycle wood, but they have forests to support that population, 20 million plus. so that wood can turn into something. Now, what can we do about items that are mixed or that are non-recyclable? Plastic, for example, has a lot of engineered plastic. The number 6, or if you see any coffee cups, the lids on them, or the foam plastic that we used to play with as kids, that's all made out of polystyrene. It's recyclable, but it doesn't get recycled. Because usually very small items, they're scarce, they're never collected in one place. And these items, unfortunately, don't get the recycling because the cost of collecting is too high. And the amount of collecting together is difficult. So you never have an efficient way or a financially feasible model to start processing these items. That being said, knowing that due to the lack of being environmentally engaged, we're having a climate change in Kuwait, or what you call global warming. Kuwait is getting hotter. Still, people believe that we don't have a big issue in Kuwait. Let me give you guys some fact. We are the highest generators in the world for waste per capita. 5.7 kilograms per capita today. We have been estimated that the value of waste dumped every day 6 years ago was around 2,800 tons a day. Then 3 years after, the government said, no, you know what, let's do an estimate of 3,000 tons a day. Today they're making estimates 3 years after that at 3,300. And the government plans on doing a waste to energy plant, and they're probably going to start looking at 4,000 tons a day just to cover the increases. Our landfills today, we have 14 of them. A lot of them are closed down. They are 30 meters high. One of them is at the 7th Road. I urge you guys to go and see them. The amount of space it takes is unbelievable. It's consuming 10% of Kuwait land space. While 2-3 years ago, we were living in only 7%. Who has more importance? Us or the waste? If we don't take action, that waste is going to overcome us. We're going to be living in our own waste. So what is it that we want to do? We want to recycle. We want to rethink our position. Rethink about our future. Re-envision ourselves where we're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years and how we're going to take action. So what we'd like is for everyone is to re-Kuwait. Thank you.